Hello everybody, welcome to this first update of the dev diary for Crusader Kings 3, a Game of Thrones mod. A mod I'm very excited for that I've been waiting since Crusader Kings 3 was announced, basically. I have all my hours in Crusader Kings 2 is basically from the Game of Thrones mod. So without further ado, I just like how the dev diary says, we'll just get right into it. So the first thing I notice is that this new developer, Badger, was tasked with building out the small council and court positions. So, which is really cool. I'm glad to see that a new developer, new people are being added to their team, and they started something really cool like this. Something that caught my eye the biggest though is right here when it says we draw ever closer to that tantalizing early 2023 open beta. If that is right, if that happens, it's already January here. If we end up getting an open beta sometime in March, that would be amazing. And I would be playing that 99% of the time of my free time, I think. So we have our error count continues to approach the asymptotic ideal of 0. Karth Greenhand no longer kidnaps northern children. Portraits have finally given Varys a full Brazilian. I remember seeing some uh, picture screenshots of Varys having like full on head of hair, which is weird. And then they are talking about the small council. So we see here we have Varys with no hair, gameplay teaser, 36 intrigue. That's impressive. You'd be able to assassinate anybody with this guy. Coming from thousands of hours in CK2, Game of Thrones, I found the base game council position to be too rigid for a Song of Ice and Fire requirements, in particular pertaining to the Iron Throne. We could have taken the easy path, renaming some of the base game positions the Hand of the King, making court position Master of Ships. That was insufficient for us, and would deprive players of a crucial part of the Song of Ice and Fire experience. So it seems like they are adding more gameplay and more design towards the Hand of the King and adding even new council positions. Sound amazing, like even new council positions with their own gameplay. Like here, it was time for the Admiral to be a full-fledged court position to make sure Stannis doesn't feel left out. So after beating my head against the GUI, I figured out how to add them. And fuck the scroll wheels, by the way. That's good. So we have here Admiral Master of Ships. Wow, it looks like it doesn't say what they do. Oh, it does here. Okay, so it's just like the raiders in okay. The default task of mustering your fleet is a martial-based task to increase your naval movement speed, while the protection management of trade is a stewardship-based task. Oh, okay, that's cool. Cultures with the ability to raid, such as the Ironborn, the Inspire Raiders task will appear, similar to the organized raid that we had in CK2. That's cool, I like that. The Admiral's other important role in his contributions is combating the issue the team has struggled with since the mod began, soldiers turning into boats. I remember that being added in CK3, how there are no more ships, and how just armies just turn into boats. And you can have, anybody can have a fleet. I remember how hard that was going to be for the mods like that, because how does that make the Ironborn special at all if anybody could have fleets? So it looks like they've tackled this by making embarkation prohibitively expensive at a baseline level and having it lowered by various factors such as cultural modifiers and buildings. That's smart. This way, the player and AI are incentivized to use ships as House Harlaw, but it's going to be way more costly if you're House Bracken. That makes sense. House Bracken doesn't really have a lot of ships. The Atom position goes a long way towards ameliorating this paddle cost, as all rulers with a coastal country in their sub-realm will have access to the Admiral Court position. That's really cool. And I know I'm giving you guys, I'm not reading exactly, completely all of this. I know you guys could be able to pause the video and look at it yourselves. I'm just trying to give you guys the short and sweet style of dev diaries. If you guys like that, just give this video a like, subscribe, and comment if you want me to read the whole thing. And it looks like this is the council. This is the basic council. Your own Lord Admiral will be appointed by a vassal in possession of a port access or an unlanded courier who can oversee your docks. Okay, alright, Marshal, and then Seer, okay. Then capture the Iron Fleet. There's the extra symbol there, the raid. looks like stewardship, organizing boats, and then making more boats, it looks like. Now here's the big one. Hand of the King and Castellan. Castellan. The Hand of the King, or Castellan for lesser realms, is where the things get truly innovative. In the living pink mass that is the lore, we've been graced with all kinds of hands, stewardly, sneaky, bold, and then stupid hands like Ned. Yeah. And all around elite hands like Mace. So it looks like, as such, we have created an interesting new system that reflects the hand as far more layered position than your other counselors. For every one of their base skill your chosen hand has above 10, they'll unlock access to that node task that corresponds to that stat. Each of those node functions a default for that stat in which you select the task for a hand. It locks that line, changing the main stat the creator uses. A truly great hand will have access to all 5 stat nodes, while an offer one will only have a few tasks to them. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so Lord John probably only has 10 intrigue and 10 martial, so it only has to do the intrigue ability and a little bit of martial ability. But since Tywin, who's a great Hand of the King, is able to be a diplomatic guy, a stewardship guy, an intrigue guy, a religious guy, a martial guy, once you've locked your Castellan into their node, the other default options will disappear and be replaced with subtasks associated with that stat. Oh, that makes sense. So you select it like here, like over at the intrigue, like you do selecting your wife, I believe. Drawing upon the original CK2, A Game of Thrones, Castellan tasks such as fortifying your provinces and entirely new possibilities. We'll have one subtask at each of the start node. Okay. Simply click over their portrait, subject to change. It'll reset the node and you'll be able to choose it again. That's really cool. And then court position. Okay, just like the Crusader Kings 2 basic mod, they were having specific stuff like maesters and court tutors, stuff like that. It seemed unfair that they were only represented in a little box-like mugshot in the court position screen. Surely the Lord's Maester is just as important as any council member. So I gave them all your unemployed sons full portrait busts with backgrounds so they feel a little bit more important. So a Maester would be a powerful agent in a hostile scheme against you. That's awesome. Aptitude excellent. Okay, that's cool. It gives you monthly court, performs medical treatments, improves education outcomes. I like that. That's cool. Commander of the Gold Cloak. That's cool. It gives you hostile scheme resistance, control growth, opinion. That's really cool. I like that. Further to that, we've been having a lot of fun with court positions, trying to make them feel a touch more lively. Now, if you have cities, castles, or a fat dock of various levels of size or girth, you procure access to new court positions. If you have a nice coastal city, then you can now assign a harbor master. And you have household guards, a gaoler, household guard will protect you in battle, sword and shields will die for you. A septo will tutor your daughters. Captain of the City Watch will patrol your streets. Though not to say the canon roles don't get a little bit extra love, you might recall that in CK2, A Game of Thrones, your command of the Gold Cloaks was a court position you could assign. We built this and made use of scripted events to make the assignment more immediately impactful, which, when building the Night's Watch, tied the granting or revoking court position to specific titles, allowing to appoint or recall commanders of the Shadow Tower and Eastwatch. So that's cool. So they sort of do the same thing with the Gold Cloaks. So conclusion, they made a really cool small council tab, which the Hand of the King will be able to do different abilities based off of his skills, like having every council ability, which is awesome. And the Admiral will be able to improve your ships, and they have minor titles for other small council members like the Maester and Household Guard. So it looks really sick. I'm really impressed by that. Really impressed. Awesome. I think that's going to be, I don't know what that extra symbol is. Looks cool. I'm very excited to see what comes. Especially with this soon to be open beta in 2023. I cannot wait. It's going to be great, guys. They're going to do stuff like, okay, hold on, I want to read this little part. As a further little amuse-bouche of what we've been tinkering with, we've been whipping up mad custom cultural legacies for each of the 7 kingdoms. We're experimenting with unlockable 1-level dynasty legacies that will function a bit like the bloodlines from Crusader Kings 2. A prowess system rework, which will bring things closer to the CK2 A Game of Thrones implementation. Some experimental systems for bringing your non-direct vassals under your council. That's still in development for the moment, and it's rude to peek behind a closed curtain. Guys, I'm super excited for this mod. Make sure you like and comment so I can do more of these. I need to know if you guys like these developer diaries to see if if I should just put more out. So thank you so much, guys. It's going to be a fun time. I'm excited for the Game of Thrones open beta coming out soon.